On YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC. Find us streaming live and home for a ton of informational chunk videos. I'm your boy Johnny C, your air traffic control. Our producer extraordinaire is still riding the high of St. Patty's Day, otherwise known as his birthday. Jimothy, how are you? Happy birthday.
Mighty fine. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate those kind words. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Always nice to see you. And, of course, let's get your starting lineup on Saturday morning. Always nice to say good morning to my friend, your friend, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Mike Rauch, how are you?
Yeah, good morning. Doing great. Happy post St. Patty's Day. I didn't know it was your birthday, Jimothy, so you were, we could call it Jimothy Day.
It's Jimothy Day.
Yeah,
Jimothy Day.
well, I let St. Patty still have it.
Yeah.
If he gave me a couple bucks.
Well, you're a kind soul. Everybody knows that. Did you do anything fun?
It was just another day of work here, and then went home and had a nice corned beef and cabbage.
Oh,
Got
okay.
to do the traditional, right?
Very nice. Very nice.
So, other than that, and maybe I might have had a little whiskey last night. Maybe just a little.
Irish?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. How about, did you do anything traditional?
No, but I never do, I guess.
No?
We went out to dinner, and there was definitely, the theme in the restaurant, people wearing green and stuff.
Sure.
But, wasn't particularly for that. I never do anything for St. Patty's Day.
I have a tradition.
Yeah.
We watch Boondock Saints.
Oh, yeah.
St. Patrick's.
Nice.
Great movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I was up till 2 a.m. watching Boondock Saints.
Cult classic.
Yes.
Who's the what was the director there? What was it? He's got a whole tumultuous career, right?
Something Duffy.
Troy Duffy.
Troy Duffy. Thank you very
Nice
much.
pull.
Nice
Shocker.
pull.
Something Duffy. Yeah.
I thought maybe you'd get drunk, get stoned, and watch Ted.
You got 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where your wife and your daughter throw stones at you? You're getting stoned at
Yes,
home.
exactly.
Right.
It's kind of like feats of strength.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's say good morning to our fearless leader. I've been telling you for now 11 years plus as we count down on another Saturday that he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations, you find the Florida Home Pros team. You also find my friend Jimmy D. Jim DePola, how you be?
Hey, good morning, Johnny. You seem very chipper today.
Do I?
Yes. What do? Do you take some kind of drug that I need to know about or something? You look super happy today.
No, just I guess maybe it's
glad.
because the first Saturday in a few Saturdays I actually feel okay. So maybe that's what it is.
There
I
we
don't
go.
know.
Are you
Yeah.
celebrating Timothy's birthday still?
Yeah, well, yeah. It could be the rollover from getting beaten with stones last
That's right.
night.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Watching Ted.
It's nice when your body starts feeling good after feeling bad for a while, right?
This is
It
true.
feels so much relief. And happy birthday, Jimothy.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I
I'm so
appreciate
very
that.
happy. Yeah. And glad to see you here, Mike. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of good stuff.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
Did you do anything St. Patty's traditional?
You know,
yesterday?
I'm half Irish. My mom is probably going to be
Just the
listening
good
to
half,
this right
Jim.
now.
Just the good half.
And I did absolutely nothing. My mom did actually a really nice thing yesterday. She took somebody corned beef and cabbage care package to one of our
Oh.
friends down in Broward County. So thank you, Mom. I love you for that.
Nice.
But I have done absolutely nothing for St. Patty's Day, and I don't have anything green in my closet. I just don't like green. I'm not a green person.
So you just total fail yesterday then as an
Yeah.
Irishman.
So when
Something
I
tells me you have a pair of green boots or
I have-
green skin, some
Well-
sort of animal skin that's
Ah,
green.
well,
boots.
as you know, Mike, I'm colorblind
You don't know.
across the spectrum.
you know you're wearing green. right?
And
Yeah,
when-
that shirt today.
Yeah,
Yes,
you are
and,
wearing
and back
green. You didn't
and back
even
in
know
the
it.
day, I'm wearing green right now. Back in the day when I was living with Natalie and the kids,
Yeah.
one time I said to the kids, "Go upstairs into my closet and get me my red boots," right? And so Ariana runs upstairs and she's looking for the boots, and she comes down. She goes, "You don't have any red boots." I'm like, "My red boots." Now I had those red boots for like 12 years before I moved into that house. I've had them forever. And the reason I liked them is because they're red and I thought they were kind of flashy for me, which I don't normally do.
Yeah, the purple sequins, right? The
Yes,
whole
and
time.
I
Yeah.
I really liked that I was wearing red boots once in a while. And every time I dressed, I would make sure that it matched red. And she's like, "There aren't any red boots." So she kept coming down. She goes, "Do you mean this one?" I'm like, "No." She'd run upstairs. She finally got the boots. I'm like, "Yes, the red boots." And she's like, "Jimmy, they're brown."
Yeah. I'm thinking because
I was so disappointed.
Wait, did you think
I'm
they
like-
were red? Like see the red in my chair
As
right
red
here?
as a stop sign.
Oh my God.
Yes, as red as a stop sign.
Why would
And
you ever wear boots that color?
Yeah, why would you want
I
to wear
just thought, to me, they looked awesome because in my color world, that color is awesome. I don't know what color world you guys got, but in my world, it works out
It's
great.
like that gray is really popping.
And so I was so disappointed that I found out that I didn't have red boots. I still like those boots. I get comments. They're a Cayman. They're a Cayman skin. So yeah, all you paid people, you're gonna hate me because
Wow.
I got tons of skins.
Look on the bright side, Jimmy. You weren't walking around with bright red boots for years. That's the bright side of that.
Well,
The
to me,
silver
that
lining.
was the downside.
Well, and anybody that knows and loves Jim, gift idea: red boots.
I
Ding,
can't
ding,
believe you
ding,
drive
right?
around in a green car. You hate green so much.
The car I have, that Acura thing, I don't know what color that was. I had no idea what color it was, for real. I didn't know. And then I looked at my registration, and then it
code.
said gray. And then I was like, oh, it's a gray car. I didn't know. I wouldn't know how to describe that car.
Your car is not gray.
No, it's red.
It's red.
It's like your boots.
Your car is
No,
red.
my
The first
car
one.
that's in the shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Acura, for keeping my car for 2 months and 1 week now for
They
a
really-
repair on brakes.
They want to make sure everything's done properly.
It's really bad.
Trust the process, Jim. Trust
Yeah,
the
the
process.
Acura dealerships down here, they're having big problems with their parts across the country. And it's all because their service provider, they don't trust them. So every part is attached to a specific car. So if you need brakes and the part doesn't arrive on time, they can't go in and grab another type of I need calipers. They can't go get another caliper for that they have in the shop.
It's
It
got to
has
be the ones that were matched up to your car.
Yes.
Or ordered for your car.
Yes, and it's been 2 months and 1 week now. Still haven't got my car back. We're talking about brakes,
Yep.
right? We're not talking about some kind of special crazy part.
Yeah, or like a bumper that they can't get or something. Yeah,
And
but
then Natalie, the former person on her team, she actually had her car in the shop for over 3 months, and I had to go to the same dealership,
Yeah.
Napleton. Okay,
Wow.
had to go. I'm so mad at them.
Calling
And
them
I
out.
had to go to the dealership and fight with them saying, I think you lost the car. It's been 3 months. It took them 2.5 hours to find the
I think
car.
you lost the car.
Yeah. And I think they did because it took them 2.5 hours to produce the car.
Wow.
And then mysteriously, it had 1,500 miles more on the odometer than when we turned the car in.
Now we're getting to crazy zone. Because
So,
I remember
yeah,
you
totally
saying this. I don't know
crazy
how
zone.
deep you want to make
I
allegations.
don't want to go
here,
any
Jim.
farther. I don't want to go any farther than that, but it's very frustrating. And I fought
It's like
with
straight
the
up
sales
Ferris Bueller's.
department.
This is
This
Ferris
is
Bueller's
Ferris
Day Off.
Bueller.
I know. I fought with them, and then they finally told me, well, the problem is our parts department, sometimes they hoard parts and then sell them for more money than they're actually worth
You can't say
when
that on the
people
radio.
need
Jim.
them.
Allegedly.
So now everything's attached to your car and you got to wait. And they have no idea. They have no idea what parts are. Anyway, aren't we glad we got into that? How did we start that from the red boots?
That's called stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
That's what that's called.
Squirrel.
Red
Yes.
boots, gray car, whatever.
I don't see any of this on the show prep.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
either.
not on show.
Not on there. Yeah, sorry,
Well,
Cam.
I don't know about you, but I feel much better now because I've been penning up that anger. I was driving over here today and going, 2 months, still don't have my car back.
Is this Napleton related?
Yes, it's
Is it?
Napleton.
Yeah.
No, this is Tom.
Oh,
on
I'm
hold,
so-
for
yeah,
us.
I'm so
you
glad.
expecting his call.
Yes. Let's put Tom on the air.
You want to
Sean.
say hi to Tom
I
right
would
now?
love to.
Right out the gates. Tom
Yes.
is joining us. Looks like our toll-free number is working well this morning, 877-927-6969. Hey, Tom, welcome. Good morning. You're on Florida Talk Real Estate.
Good morning. Yes, yeah. Phone seems to be working fine.
Tom, I haven't heard your voice in quite some time. It's
That's
nice
right.
to speak with you again. This is Johnny C.
Yeah, John, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
Tom has been a longtime listener of the Real Radio Station. He used to work down here in Martin County in government land, doing a whole bunch of stuff.
And Tom used to get phone calls from me as a regular employee of the Florida Home Pros team.
The count?
Yes, and it was many phone calls.
Yes.
Because this is why Tom's calling in today. I've been talking about this story on air about Tom since
Oh.
December. And we've tried to get Tom on 3 times. All times were our fault. One time we had technical difficulties. One time the show was canceled. One time he had to go out of town. So we haven't been able to get Tom on. Tom, I don't remember when we closed on your house. What months did we close? Was it December?
It was scheduled originally for December. We had a long 90-day, and they went a little early in November, right around Thanksgiving, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah. And
I was just tapping my thumbs, waiting for it to close.
yes, and tapping your thumbs, waiting. You're the most patient man I ever know.
Ever.
So let me tell you the story. People have heard this before. I call it the Wacko Jacko story, right? It's one of my favorite stories on the show. Tom came to us in 2019, and he was an empty nester, and he was retiring from government life and wanted to move to a different part of the state. And he came to me, and he just wanted to find out what his house was worth and get a plan on selling his home up in Stewart. In Palm City, up in Palm City. And he wanted to have an idea of what he would net. He's in the financial world, so he understands numbers really well, important to him. So we had to do a seller net sheet and try to figure out everything. And in 2019, he had an older roof. The pool probably needed to be resurfaced. And the house was in very good condition, but it was a little dated. And in 2019, we felt that his house was worth roughly, without putting it on the market, about. Do you mind if I use real numbers, Tom, or would you like me to use fake
go ahead. No,
Just
okay.
add a zero. It
Yeah,
can't go wrong.
yeah, okay. So we thought the house was going to be worth about $325,000. We sold it then, partly because the roof was so old. We were at higher interest rates then. We were in the fives. In 2019, at the time that he was going, the market looked like it was shifting a little bit towards in 2019. Powell was talking about inflation again. He had done that in 2018. He was starting to worry again. We didn't know what was going to happen. But Tom said, there's one thing. I really don't want to sell the house because I don't want my cat not to have a place. And I know I want to get a rental after this, and I know it's going to be hard to get a place for my cat. And then my cat's kind of an indoor cat, but only in the screened area of my backyard pool. So he had to have a place that was good for the cat. And it was very hard to. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it was a much older cat, the house, and I'm a bit of an animal person, it had grown up there. Then, it's human and pet siblings were all gone. And I thought, it's having a little physical problems, and thought that'd be better maybe to let her finish it out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, too much turmoil can be rough on,
yes.
on our kids.
So he,
basically what the kitty is. Yeah.
And it was the kids. It was the kid's pet.
Yeah.
So he really was attached to the cat. If you had cat 14 years, you're going to be attached to the thing, of course, right?
It kind of goes along with like our philosophy of like, you move when it's right for you. And it's not always about like, are we at the peak or is it a great time? It's a good time when it's right for you and your family. So, and pets are family.
It's so true. So if we had sold it for the price that we were talking about, he was barely right side up, which was very disappointing. But he was also afraid that he didn't want to get upside down, because there was a period, because of when he bought the house, that he was a little upside down, years earlier. He didn't want to get stuck in that trap again. But Jacko held on. So 2019, no sale. Okay. Mm-hmm. Johnny knows this for real.
I do.
2020, Jacko's still holding in during COVID, right? Screw COVID. He's still kicking around, right? Then in 2020, Tom couldn't take it anymore, and he replaced the roof, right? And I'm thinking, darn it, right? He's spending more money on the house.
Yep.
But he doesn't have a choice. Then he went ahead and I think he resurfaced the pool and worked on the pool, right?
Yeah, I had the surface started cracking and leaking, and I was sort of forced into that also then.
Yeah, he sounds like he's so disappointed, but this is a good story.
Yeah, well, because it feels like it's turning into a money pit in a way, right? You're like, I'm totally going to be, I'm drowning in this thing. Yeah.
Yep. So the cat still hangs on in 2020. 2021, cat's still kicking. Through the whole time, we're calling Tom every few months. Hey, Tom, how's it going? That's, just checking in.
This cat has something figured out. He's been faking his own demise for 3 years. He's probably getting so much love and treats and like extra food.
Yeah. He absolutely was pulling my leg. I think.
Those cats are smart, I tell you.
So then,
conniving is what they are.
So then 2022 comes. and Jacko passed.
Oh,
Rest in peace,
Mhm.
Jacko. So we had to
Oh, yeah.
sit down. We had to sit down and go over the comps. And I had all the old stuff from 2019 still in the computer. I had the comps saved based on 2019. So I had to refresh everything. So we were thinking 325 when in 2019. So let me look up
before investing in a new roof,
Before putting on the
investing
news
and doing a
and the new
resurface
pool.
of the pool. And this is probably not a $3,000 job by the way he was describing it. It's probably closer to like a $10,000 job.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way you're describing it, I know because I'm going through it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So, you're going through a roof thing right now?
No, pool thing.
Oh, pool thing.
Yes.
So what happened was we were doing the comps in September of last year, and we found out that the house was probably worth a lot more, thanks to Jacko, a lot more than we were hoping. So we put the house on the market in September of 2022 for $535,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So we put it on the market. Now this is, you remember, September 2022. What was happening in September 2022?
Rates were going back up.
Yes, the rates were going back up to a record high
Yeah.
of 2009, right? Going back to 2009, record high heights. And we had the house on the market, and we didn't get a lot of showings at all, right? Remember that, Tom?
It was just as the quantities of sales were dropping, I think, right in as that was happening, that was scaring us.
Mm-hmm. And yes, and it was a little scary. A lot of people at that point weren't used to the slowing market. This is like, and when we said slowing market, it was like Fred Flintstone driving in his car and then hitting the brakes. You know what I mean? Right, with his feet in the ground. And that's kind of what was happening in the market. And it was a little scary. We haven't experienced that for a while. Thank God that I've been through that market when we started the show. So I was used to slower showings. But I didn't think that the sales were gonna. I didn't feel like the sales were going to be affected that much. The buyers were still there because everybody was trying to beat the higher interest rates at that point.
But I'm looking at it like August, September, October was super sharp spike, and that was following a super sharp spike. Basically from the beginning of 2022, or like kind of like March 2022. So it went up, settled for a moment, and then spiked up again right towards
very
November.
Fast, like you said, very fast. I think we went up like a point in 6 weeks or something. It was pretty bad. Right. So every time the interest rates go up a point, the buyers lose 10% of their purchase power. So that's a big deal to sellers.
10% is
10% is a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we put the house on the market 535, and we weren't getting that many showings. So I remember around day 30, Tom, if you remember this, around day 30, you called up and said, I really think we need to, he didn't say, I really think, he goes, I guess it's time for us to adjust the price. We weren't getting that many showings. We didn't get any negative feedback on the house. We just didn't get any offers. Right. So I went back.
People coming, weren't that much.
I'm sorry, Tom, I stepped on you. Could you repeat?
Didn't seem like we were getting the quantity of people coming in right then to want to take a look. I think we had some storms right around then too. I think we had a washout on an open house, and
that's right, our open house. We had to either shut it down. I think we had to shut one of the open houses down because the storm was so bad. So we just canceled the open house.
Oh, that's came through, hit the West Coast hard, right? Wasn't it?
I think that was during Ian, maybe or something. Maybe, maybe. And so we were having stutter steps, but I still felt that we were priced right. I went back to the comps. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the third lowest lowest price pool home property in Palm City. And I think not just Palm City, but I think Martin County, you were the third lowest price pool home available. So what are you going to cut
the county?
Right. So I said to Tom, what are you going to cut the price for? It's like you're almost undercutting yourself because you're already at the lower end. I go, we'll find your buyer. We just haven't found the right buyer yet. And then we just within the next 10 days, because on day 40 is when we went into contract. So we went into contract, let me see, October 26th is when we went into contract. And we were on the market 535. We had a very long close. I think, like Tom said, we had a 90-day close, but to help the buyer out. But then they were able to close early, so everybody was happy with that. And then we closed. So we thought we were going to sell the house for $325, and we put the house on the market for $535. So my question to you two guys is, did I already say the number?
No.
What did the house actually close for? So $535
after like negotiations, like inspections, everything.
What did we
You
close
said new
for?
roof?
Yeah, we had a brand new roof. The pool was brand new. The kitchen and the bathrooms were original. The carpeting was original. Probably needed a paint job on the inside. The outside was freshly painted, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, Tom, right?
Yeah.
So all the heavy lifting was
You want to
done.
go first, Johnny?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go.
I'm gonna go 532.
Okay, I was thinking along those lines. Then he just mentioned carpet and stuff, and so you can give somebody. You took my number. All right, 528.
Well, you guys are both pretty close. What we ended up getting was 525 on a 535 list price at one of the highest interest rates of last year, and we still got it. Had a super smooth closing. The other agent, let me just mention her.
So did I win that?
You did.
The other agent was Heather from Waterpoint Realty Group. She was awesome, wasn't she, Tom? The other agent.
They were good to work with.
Yeah, it was such a smooth process once we got it under contract. So thanks to Wacko Jacko, holding on for 3 years, he made Tom exactly $200,000 more than he would have if he put the house on the market in 2019. That had to make you feel a little better because you walked away with a little bit of equity, even after paying for that roof and that pool.
Yeah,
you walked away with a lot more equity than you thought.
And that's, you mentioned earlier, you try to force your timing. Sometimes the timing it happens the way it happens. Thank you, Jacko. Like I said, it helped out on that. And at a time when, like I said, the sales were starting to fall off, that was the exact right buyer to show up at that time. They were the good ones to work with, and it couldn't have been a better buyer at the time. And if I would have went earlier, I wouldn't have had that buyer. And it just worked out so good. Thank you, Jacko, again.
I recall like one real element, and it really is all about the cat. Because if Tom would have just found a suitable place that he felt good about moving the cat to, he'd have done that, and the house would have gone on the market at any of that time in between there.
And he looked. I took him out to a bunch of places.
Yeah.
He went out on his own. He kept looking.
Yep.
Every time we found a place, it's like, will the cat fit in with this
It was
lifestyle?
always about Jacko. It was like, no, it's not going to work. And it like really boils down to this cat just giving you back a bunch of love at the end.
And sort of serendipitously, the place I was looking for, I found it's a little rental, little 3-bedroom house. It's probably more than I need. I had found the perfect place, but because of the timing again, just when I went in to look at it, they said, oh, no, we had just rented it out. And they called me back the day later and said that renter fell through. And I ended up in almost a perfect little rental here. It couldn't be better. I got a house with a little yard and a rental that's in a nice place. It worked out real well.
It's beautiful.
And he's closer to his family in Central Florida, so everything worked out great.
Win.
Tom, I got to ask you,
Do
you have some type of memorial for Wacko Jacko in your house that you made? Yeah. Do you have a mantle where you put the urn or something?
Well, that's what I was thinking of. There's got to be something. I probably cleared out most of it, but I've got a picture that I hang on to that I'll stick over in the corner somewhere.
That's so cool.
Not only getting me out of there, got me into here. Timing, you can't control timing. Sometimes the world just works in the way it wants to, not the way you want to.
Tom, can I talk to you candidly? You don't know I'm asking this question. This is all live, so I'm not asking you to. We didn't script any of this. So, what I'm wondering is we built a relationship basically over 3 years. The Florida Talk Real Estate team and Tom, as he's going through the process. And did you ever feel pressured by us to do something that you didn't want to do? Because that's really important in today's market. Everybody's so confused right now a lot of people I'm meeting with or trying to meet with are afraid that if they meet with me that or my team that they're going to be high pressured into doing something and the market's kind of tricky. And what I explain to people, we work on your time frame, not on our time frame. Did you feel any pressure over those 3 years that I was trying to get you to do something that really isn't what you wanted to do or in your best interest?
No, Jim, you touched on the point that I was just going to say. Everybody should have a real estate agent like Jim DePaula. You were so good in you weren't doing it, like I said, on your schedule. You were working on what I needed, and that was greatly appreciated because I was sort of here and there and up and down and back and forth, and you absolutely were working for me. You were trying to make what I wanted to happen. So I really appreciate that. There was no pressure, and you understood where I was coming from, and that was greatly appreciated, Jim.
I really appreciate that, Tom. I want to get up to where you live now because we're going to go through. We're going to have a beer or two and throw some darts. Tom is a good dart player.
Absolutely.
And I like darts and pool. Any bar game I like playing.
What's your game, Tom?
Well,
what do you normally play?
Let me qualify that. This is kind of old darts, the 301 or 501 double in, and this is from places I worked in other places. It's not the little plastic things.
Right. Yeah, the good darts. But I'll warn you, Tom, be careful. Jim is a little bit of a sleeper on this stuff. Like you wouldn't know it, but he can beat you, and you'd be like, "Where did that come from? What the heck? How did that happen?"
Sharp.
I grew up. I started going to bars with illegal IDs at 15 years old, so I learned how to shoot pool, throw darts, play the puck game. The puck game with the sand tabletop.
Oh,
you
yeah.
throw the puck,
Shuffleboard,
puck or whatever. Yeah. I've done all of that many, many times. But Tom actually has a board at his house. He's got the steel tip darts. Back when I was a dart nut, I actually had the little bumblebees. Tom, remember the little short ones? And it had the tip that retracts. So if it hits the metal on the thing, it kind of
would bounce a little bit.
It bounced in, so it still stick in. I had one of those. I don't remember what they were called.
I don't think those are legal.
Yeah, that's cheating, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe that's why I won all those times. But Tom, thank you so much for trusting us through all those years and taking all the phone calls that we had because we called you a bunch. That's another thing I'm hoping people will realize when you're part of the show. We want you to be part of the show for life, meaning if you need insurance or if you're thinking about doing a refi or if you have legal questions or title work or probate issues or buying a house or buying an investment property or trying to figure out what to do, anything in real estate, even commercial, please, we're your one-stop real estate shop, and we want to be there for you for life because building relationships is what it's all about. So, Tom, thank you so much for calling in today.
Absolutely, Jim, and that's like I said, why I got you on the phone and why we're still talking here. You weren't just there for the sale. You were trying to make what I wanted to happen. So that's greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much. Hey, we finally got you on the air. I'm so happy. It only took us 3 months.
It wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought. Okay.
It's just you and me.
Easy for you
it's
to
just
say.
A bunch of us talking. Yeah, it's just
Ball
a bunch
of nerves over here, Tom.
Bunch of numbskulls talking to each other. Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend, okay?
Absolutely, and stop by whenever you get a chance.
I will. Thank you so much.
Here for you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, guys.
So Tom's story is a snowflake. As we mentioned, everybody's situation is very different, uniquely your situation. But this team, Florida Talk Real Estate, can work through all of your situations and then some. Like Tom, we might even wait 2 years to make it happen for you. You'll get some phone calls in between from guys like me saying, "Hey, how's things? What can we do for you? What's going on?" Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. We are live on the radio on a Saturday, 2 hours of infotainment here on Real Radio. You can always join us on air at 877-927-6969, just like Tom just did. Of course, off air, remember Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. And you got the hotline there, 888-973-7828. You can reach out. It's answered by a live body 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Jim, we have a new way to get in touch. there's going to be little links that you can find. Not only on the, are they on the videos now, Jim?
They're going to be on the videos too, which is going to be awesome. So,
okay, videos, and you'll see at floridatalkrealestate.com a link where you can literally get right to Jim's calendar, right? You get access to your calendar and be like, I want to book a time to talk with Jim on this day at this time. There's his calendar, boom. And it sounds like it's pretty intuitive, easy to get done, and then, hey, I'm controlling your time.
Yeah, Johnny is funny because he knows my business so well, and Johnny's like, have fun with that. That sounds like a nightmare.
That sounds like a nightmare.
And I was joking saying, if I have an inundated amount of people calling me, that's a good problem to have. I'll fix that problem later. But yes, now you can actually get into my calendar live, find out the times that I'm available that meet your schedule. You click the button to make the appointment. You're going to get an email confirmation that I will be calling you at that time. I usually set them up for a 30-minute conversation. You don't need to do 30 minutes, but we set it up as 30-minute increments. We even have it set up so that if I'm on the road, that there's a lag in there so that let's say I'm done at a meeting at 12, but I'm on the road, we might not have a availability until 1 or 1:15. So we even include that to try to make things as smooth as possible.
Cool.
We're just trying to be there for you guys. It's a very complicated market. And today's market is very complicated. Things are changing very quickly. Look at Tom. When we were putting the house on the market, the interest rates were a point lower, and 40 days later, they were a point higher. We're going through that phase again, in a little positive phase. We're going to talk about that later. But this market's very confusing. So when you need the advice, we're here for you. The one-stop real estate shop on all things real estate. We're here for you. So give us a call. Johnny, let's go ahead and take a break. And on the flip side, we're going to talk about, is your zip code as hot as Ross?
Ooh, that's tough. That's
Nice.
high bar, high bar.
Ross.
A hot Ross Camaronets from Brightway Insurance Juno Beach reference on our way out. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. Of course, always call the hotline as well, 888-973-7828. You'll find that at floridatalkrealestate.com. 4 minutes from now, we get back at it. Great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us on a Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Jennifer Collins. Warm and breezy through this afternoon with highs in the upper 80s and a mix of sun and clouds with a south wind between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Increasing clouds tonight, lows in the 60s Sunday morning. Cloudy and much cooler on Sunday with highs in the 60s and 70s with occasional showers through the day.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Reset your rest at Mattress Firm's Big Spring Sale. Shop top brands today and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select purchases. Time to score big savings on your dream bed.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, you can dial that up, 877-927-6969. That's toll free. Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire, he'll line you up. Make the call. We'll take that call. Speaking of Jimothy, birthday boy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Johnny.
I am your boy, Johnny C., Air Traffic Control. Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, is with us on a Saturday. Hello, Michael.
Hey there. Mortgage guy in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always nice. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And Jimmy D's here, too. That's Jim DePola, our fearless leader. He runs a top-producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. Hey, Jimmy D.
I do. I
do?
didn't know that.
You does.
Oh, I finally found out what I'm doing for a living.
Nice.
Thank gosh.
I got a quick question. Mike won the guessing game earlier. What did he win?
He won a pat on the back. I'm joking.
All right.
That's it. I wouldn't have played if that was the pool.
Put that in the stack that you got in the corner there. Of those,
He was hoping for a pat on the front, but whatever.
Well,
everything.
Here's a funny thing. When I'm working on the outlines now, as I was working on the outlines yesterday, I actually had the quizzes in there where I was going to ask you what happened in this situation or what do you think? And then I realized as I started writing scripts that you guys would know the answers to the question before
we have to leave the question off.
So
I leave the answer off.
I'm leaving off the answer. I'm leaving off the stuff now. I have to figure out how to do that so it sounds better on the radio, so it's real.
Or just do it in fine print and then reverse order on the bottom of the page.
I like it. We got to get a little stinger intro too, because you remember watching Monday Night Football back in the day when they had the IBM presents "You Make the Call." You remember that?
I remember that. Oh,
Vaguely,
that's good.
Vaguely.
I loved it so much as a kid. They'd show the play, and you got to see. They show the refs' hand movements. You got to tell them what the call is. Basically, what's the call? Get so jacked up for that. I'm excited. I'm excited for our new segment, Jim.
Yes, yeah.
Just
so
like
Timothy,
that.
work on
Just
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So we're going to talk about zip codes. Now, this is coming from Open Door. Open Door is not my exact top news source by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Open Door is one of those iBuyer programs.
Oh boy.
That lost hundreds of millions of dollars over the last couple quarters, and I don't even know why they're still around, but whatever. But they did do an analysis about zip codes, and they try to figure out the hottest zip codes in South Florida right now, right? So we wanted to see what the hottest zip codes were. So when I started reading it, I'm like, okay, maybe we should talk about this. So there of the 10 hottest zip codes in South Florida. Now, I don't know how many total zip codes, but they're doing from Dade County all the way up to St. Lucie County. Okay. 4 of the hottest zip codes are in Broward. 4 of the hottest zip codes are in
Palm Beach.
in Palm Beach, 1 zip code's in Dade, and 1 zip code's in St. Lucie County for the hottest. Of those 3 counties, which one had the number 1 hottest zip code? Now, what they considered for hottest is they took the total amount of sales in the this quarter from January 1st until they did the analysis. Okay. So we're not full quarter yet. And then they took that and then they divided it by, no, they just added up the total amount of closed transactions. And then that's what they use to decide which is hottest. Right?
Number or price?
Just number, not
Okay.
price. So volume.
I think it's
volume
probably
only,
the same
not-
answer on both.
So
Johnny, you
which,
thinking what I'm thinking?
I am thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Oh,
it's what
okay.
you're thinking, but
Yeah, I think
Now-
we're on the
am I-
same county.
now just to be transparent, I didn't give them the links to these articles this time, so you guys don't know the answers. So what do you guys think?
You're talking about number of total sales, but what do we know about
Well,
the county
we don't
sales?
know that. We don't actually know in this article. We don't know the actual numbers. They just crunched the numbers and ranked them.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
we don't know
Okay.
if there were 400 sales or 20 sales.
Yeah.
We just know these are the hottest zip codes, meaning by the total sheer volume of closed
Okay,
sales.
so county, that's the first question.
Yeah. Which county do you think
Palm
has the
Beach.
hottest zip code?
Palm
I
Beach.
was leaning Broward. Damn.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, and I'm thinking
Really?
St. Lucie.
way.
Jimmy's right. The number 1 hottest zip code in South Florida, according to Open Door, is St. Lucie. That's why I almost didn't do this article till I saw that because that was kind of surprising, right?
Yeah, it
Wow.
is,
Except
yeah.
for Jimothy, right?
Number
Jimothy,
of closed sales?
number of closed sales for
That's-
volume.
that- Wait,
Now-
for volume? Or for
What
units?
I mean, no, for units closed,
Right.
not
And
not
it's St. Lucie County?
St.
Over Palm
Lucie.
Beach and Broward?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Which-
only in the zip code, though. The hot
That
zip code.
one
Ah.
zip code, right? Not the whole county.
What is the zip code up there? 33458?
34953 is the hottest zip
53,
code. Is
okay.
that your zip code,
No,
Timothy?
no,
That's what I was
You're
thinking.
4, right? 349.
34983. I'm 83.
Oh, 83?
Yeah.
Maybe it is 83. Hold on. Maybe I got it wrong.
No,
That would be a
there's
total Jim
there's
DePaula
5.2
thing.
and 5.3 as well.
Yeah.
34953.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. 34953 is the number
I
1.
wonder if that's
Wow.
out by tradition because they are just
Yeah, they are.
expanding out there like
Mhm.
you wouldn't believe.
You're
They're
right.
putting in units by the thousands. It's just incredible. How
Yeah,
much
really.
they're expanding.
It
And that's
really-
the only reason why I guess that because I see it. I see the construction,
Mm-hmm.
and even the single lots that are going in, all over the place is just unbelievable.
So is new construction one of the criteria, Jim?
It
Because
did-
I'm thinking
any
like
unit,
what's Westlake?
any unit closed. Yep.
470?
Right.
33470?
I got to be honest with you. I'm not good with zip codes. I
Yeah.
just do it based on cities. So these zip codes, it's like whatever. It just kind of blows off of me. Now, some agents are like computers with zip codes. They
Yeah.
know every single zip code and understand. the
Everyone's
regions.
brain works slightly different.
Yeah, I just don't do it that way. But here's this other surprise thing. So St. Lucie was number 1. What city? Let's just talk city. Each county. What city? I'm going to give you a hint. The second one is in Palm Beach County of the 10. Number 2 is in Palm Beach County. But what city do you think that zip code is in?
Well, I just mentioned Westlake. Does that count as a
Yeah,
city?
that would be a city.
Okay.
It's the newest city.
I was thinking Lake Worth has really been popping.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
What about you, Jimothy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
out west would be my
He
guess.
picked the number 1. He's out. He's already. I already got the
done.
best of the best.
Did he get a pat on the back?
Actually, it's Green Acres, and I was
There you
surprised
go.
about
Okay,
that.
Lake
So
Worth, Green Acres.
33467, which is actually the zip code my mom's in. So Green Acres is number 2. And let me just
to be.
go over some of the. Oh, I'm sorry. Green Acres isn't number 2. It was number 3. So I was wrong about that. Number 2, 33319 Lauderdale Lakes. That's one
Okay.
of the first cities I moved to when I grew up down here in 1975. Western Boynton Beach came in 33437 came in as number 4. By the way, that's a brand new zip code. 33467 or 37 is a brand new zip code. There were 2 brand new zip codes in this group of listings. Believe it or not, Kings Point in Delray Beach, the 55 and over community.
Yeah.
That's
Floods.
33446.
Huh.
That came in number 5. Tamarack came in number 6. Deerfield came in number 7. Royal Palm Beach is 8.
Holla.
Margate is number 9. And Miami Beach is the only one that made it in Dade County. Is most hottest or most popular zip codes right now. Now, we didn't see town of Palm Beach. We didn't see Wellington. We didn't see, I'm trying to think. We didn't see
didn't see
downtown Fort
Westlake.
Lauderdale. We didn't see Westlake. We didn't see a lot of big cities that you think of. Town of Palm Beach, you know, we're seeing all kinds of records set there. So they were trying to figure out why these were the most popular. Now it makes more sense with these high interest rates and everything. What people are looking for is affordability.
Aha.
It's all about affordability right now. So affordability is where the hot zip codes are. And just to put this in perspective, we're going to be talking more about this as I do more research, but like the $1 million to $3 million market right now, all you people up north listening, right, that are thinking, hey, I wanted to move to Florida, I probably missed my mark. Not so fast. If you're looking for the $1 million to $3 million properties, there's almost 10 months of inventory on that. That is a buyer's market. Anything over 6 months of inventory.
Even at those price points, I thought like 12 months was a normal one there.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. But traditionally, anything over 6 months is a buyer's market. But you're right, at the higher priced homes, sometimes it's a little longer to sell. But they've been selling like hotcakes for so long right now because of the low interest rates to get to 10 months of inventory. Think about it. The total county in Palm Beach County had at one point like 1.1 months of inventory.
Yeah.
So to have 9.8 months of any segment of the market inventory, there are deals there. There are deals to be had there. So you didn't miss out on moving to Florida. If you're living up in the Northeast and you're listening to our show, awesome. Thank you very much. If you're thinking about buying down here, you know who to be calling because I'm going to go find you a deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because there are deals out there to be had in the $1 million to $3 million price point.
And if you are thinking about moving in one of these areas, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. We're live on the radio. Jimothy will line you up, 877-927-6969, live on this March 18th. Of course, if you're not comfortable on air, always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is at .com, your one-stop real estate shop, or you can call the hotline. You'll find it right there at floridatalkrealestate.com, 888-973-7828. Remember, floridatalkrealestate.com.
Yes, thank you, Johnny. And if you are thinking about buying and you're trying to decide what area, I'd love to hear what you're basing your decision on when it comes to location. Is it because of where you work? Is it the commute that's important to you? Maybe your kid's school? Maybe it's a religious institution? Maybe it's specifically the lifestyle. Besides affordability and that hot zip code thing that we just did, the second reason for people choosing where they were doing wasn't just number one was affordability. Number two was lifestyle. A lot of people are complaining that that everything's too congested down here now. And in the article, now this is open doors, so you got to take it with a couple grains of salt. But they were saying that a lot of people from Fort Lauderdale, for example, were moving to Port St. Lucie because they wanted, quote, a slower lifestyle with less traffic.
A little less hustle bustle.
A little less hustle bustle. But Jimothy, let's be honest about this, right?
Busier up there too.
It's getting super busy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you get traffic jams during rush hour traffic. That's crowded up there.
Last night, I ended up going out to get home because there were so many accidents. There were 3 accidents on 95 and 1 on the turnpike yesterday. So when I was leaving here in West Palm Beach to go north, I actually ended up going out 710 out to like Indian Town and up the back way there to get back over to Martin Boulevard in order to get back on the 95 to avoid all that. It can be a mess.
And
That's a nice drive,
and it is. It's actually a beautiful drive. I've never done it.
Yeah.
Where I've actually gone all the way out that way, and beautiful area out there. Beautiful. I think I might have found where I'm going to.
I know. He
build
was
a
talking.
house.
It's like, hey, I think I found a place. It's funny. So
It's beautiful out there. But yeah, the traffic and congestion. I mean, what we see on a Saturday that's kind of lighter, that used to be every day coming down 95, coming to work, and now it's busy. And nothing like it is obviously when you get from West Palm down further, because it's just even more congested down here.
yes, so people are trying to find some relief. So we're definitely going through a migration period right now with a lot of people. It started with COVID. People started saying, hey, I could work any place I want. And started people making moves on that. And that was a big thing. But I think that trend is going to continue. The other trend I think that we're going to see is when we started this show, the average homeowner stayed in their house 5 to 7 years. That was back in 2012. Then because of all the short sales and low mods and the bad market that we had in, you know, 06 through 012, during that time, people stayed in their houses longer because they were upside down and going through low mods and things like that. So then it got all the way up to 11 years on average that people were staying in their house, which is very unusual. We didn't really ever have that trend for a very long time. And what I'm seeing right now is the amount of time in an individual home is getting closer to that 5 to 7 years again. And I'm seeing a lot of people moving out of state compared to when I started this show. There's a lot of people moving all over the place. We just have a couple, Matt and Lisa. We're going to be closing on them hopefully next week. And they're selling their house down here and they're moving to Massachusetts, right? We have other people that are moving to, I just talked to Ricky a couple of days ago, big fan of the show. He's selling his house to a relative at a very low cost. He's doing a really good gift to the relative by selling the house low. He has a ton of equity. And then he's taken the equity from the sale of the property, even though it isn't the full equity, because he's given a lot to the relative. He's buying something up in Georgia. So we're going to be placing him on Monday with a top agent in Georgia.
Awesome.
Really excited for him.
Should let me talk to Ricky about his buyer, because you can structure those, like when it's family, you can structure those deals so everyone gets what they want. And maybe the buyer doesn't need to bring any cash, but can still do a large down payment.
Oh, that's a great idea. I should have him talk to you about that. I tried to talk to him about it, but we're almost there because I just talked to him yesterday. I found the perfect team for him up in, he's going to be living in Blue Ridge in Georgia.
Okay.
Blue Ridge is awesome. It's God's country. My parents had a place in Murphy, which wasn't too far away from that. We know that area pretty well. Nancy has relatives out in that area. So we're going to get him a great team up there to help him find his place.
Nancy, our Sergeant Holka, the big toe of the Florida Home Pros team?
Yeah, you know what? When she tried to put, that's what I call her, the big toe, Sergeant Holka.
Yeah.
And it's funny because what happened is Nancy her brother needed to sell a house up there. We referred her out to an agent. And wait, did we refer out to the agent? I don't know if we referred her or they picked somebody else, but listen to this. The agent was totally wrong and they were off by like $120,000 on the real sale of the property. Like they listed it, took a long time to sell, so like 120,000 less. I'm like, what the hell? And but Nancy helps me find all these people. This group is great. I'm really looking forward to help Ricky with that. And we have another guy, Robert, who's going to be selling and moving out of the area. There's a lot of people moving out of the area right now. What they're looking for is most of the people are saying two things: affordability and slower pace. That's what they're looking for, is those two things right now. So it's really interesting to see that go on right now.
Yeah, and it's amazing to say moving out of Florida for a slower pace, because that's kind of what it's always been.
Yeah.
And it's shifted so dramatically. And I see why, some people choose to leave. I get it. It's not the Florida of 20 years ago. It's definitely not the Florida of 40 years ago.
Oh man, I moved down here in 74, so I feel like this is my home, right? And every time I don't think of New York as my home anymore. I really feel like it was a place I stayed. I'm a Floridian now.
That's 50 years ago.
I know. Don't.
It's like 70 years ago.
I know. That's
like
80 years ago. I know. It's 180. So when I knew Mr. Flagler, when we used to go out and have bourbons together, right, with Mr. Flagler.
You babysat him, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I wanted to give a shout out to Marianne. Thank you so much. Miriam, I think, is a new watcher on our Facebook page, and she just let somebody else know about our show. Thank you so much. Anybody else listening or watching, basically, please let other people on YouTube and Facebook know about us. We want to grow the show. We try to give you really good information every week in a fun and entertaining way. So please share our live shows. Let other people know about it. Tell other people about it. And make sure you give them our number, 888-973-7828 or floridatalkrealestate.com.
Truly, by sharing, you could be, without even realizing, totally changing somebody's life. Giving them access to real professionals. A lot of people know a lot of people, and a lot of those people, unfortunately, even though they're great people, they might not be very good at what they do. So a lot of referrals are like, hey, I know a realtor, and here you go, good luck. let's go to people that are great at what they do. Do not guess, especially when it comes to the biggest purchase or sale you're probably ever going to make, your home. Go to floridatalkrealestate.com. Vet the pros. Do that as part of the process. Interview this team. See if it's right for you. floridatalkrealestate.com. You'll find out. These are the best of the best and a team that you definitely want to work with. They work together cohesively, and that's what really makes this team so special. It's the caring about your outcome and working together to make your outcome, the one you're desiring, the one that happens for you. And the way that we're hoping it's going to go down is smooth as silk. floridatalkrealestate.com. Remember it, share it, know it, use it, love it.
Just like Tom's closing, super smooth. Everything went great. Perfect. That's what we want. Hey, I know we're
it's smooth as silk. Do you know the catchphrase? It's a liquor brand. Come on, Mike.
Is it?
No, I could get maybe like a Drambuie variant, one of those.
It's a brand. It's called Kessler.
Kessler. What is it?
Smooth as silk.
Is it a whiskey?
It is. Yeah,
it's a whiskey.
When they say smooth as silk, you're like, wait a minute, why is it $5?
Their idea is smooth as 80 grit.
Are there different levels of silk?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, this one's
Smooth as smooth can be.
yes.
I think we're going to run like 3 minutes over, Jimothy, but let's get this one segment knocked down, and then we're going to take another break. I want to get into mortgage rates with Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm. Okay, if you're thinking about getting mortgages, you got to think about Mike. If you're doing a refi, if you're going to just buy a house, if you got any kind of questions related to mortgages, reverse mortgages, I hear a lot of people talking about that. If you're a vet, don't go to those crazy people that act like they're got the vet's back. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. Mike does. He's
Just
been
because it
doing
says vet in the name doesn't mean they have your best
it
interest.
doesn't mean they
at
don't
heart.
have your best
Yeah.
interests. And Mike knows so much and has helped so many vets in our area. And so please give us a call. Give us a call. So if you have any kind of mortgage questions, whatever, you always got to call Mike. But Mike, I wanted to get into interest rates right now and just leave off on this segment with some buyer tips because things have been changing a lot.
Yeah.
So let's just go into the Freddie Mac rates like we do every week. So the Freddie Mac interest rate a week ago Thursday, before we did our show, was 6.73%. Now that was the high for the year so far, not the high of the last 18 months, because the high of the last 18 months was October, November, where you hit 7.08. Last week we were at 6.73. That had been rising about a quarter point or so, quarter to a half point over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Well, we took a breather this week a little bit. It looked like to us, according to Freddie Mac, we went down to 6.66. Now, just to put this in perspective, when we started in January, we were at, the first week in January, we were at 6.48. We're at 6.66 right now. That's not a big variance. We're talking probably $50, $60 on your mortgage or something like that. I know it depends on how big of a house you're buying, but
okay.
But for an average person buying around 400 to 500,000,
it's moving something like that.
Yeah,
so somewhere between $50 and $100.
Yeah, so it isn't a big deal from January. There's been very little variance, but we've been scooting up and down plus or minus a half a point the whole year.
Yeah, and it kind of has been jockeying a little bit, right? Back and forth.
Choppy waters,
back and forth. Yep.
Right? I call it the choppy waters. We're going up, we're going down, we're going up. You just don't know where we are. It's just like we're bouncing around all over. Because really nobody knows how this economy is. Nobody knows what's happening in this economy. Nobody. And when I mean nobody, not Jerome Powell, the Fed Reserve guy, not the White House, not Congress, right? Not the banks, not the stock market. Everything, even crypto. Crypto went down a little. It's been going down. It went up. Then yesterday we had this big surge in crypto. We had like a 34% increase across the crypto market. Yeah, it was pretty big. Yeah,
wow.
It was actually in the news all day yesterday.
Check my holding.
I think Bitcoin, one of them went up almost 50% in a day.
Oh,
and another one went 34%. I think either Ethereum did 50% and Bitcoin did 34%, but all of them did pretty good. One of my buddies does a lot of crypto. He said Cardano isn't doing so good right now, but they've
did. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff
Not
going
by
on.
50%.
Yeah.
Mine
there's
didn't,
50.
but
Yeah, 50% in one day. That's what
Wow.
I read, or in 1 week or something like that. So but it's probably going to go back down again because nobody knows what's going on.
Well, talk about choppy waters is the crypto markets, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's the epitome of speculation. You know what I mean? It really is.
It's just, to me, it was almost like a device created for day traders. So they're guaranteed to always have fluctuations and they could work off of that all the time, like good fluctuations, not little weak
You
ones.
need to know how to make money when the market's going up and going down or going sideways, Jim.
Oh, is that what you
Yeah,
need? I know
right.
what you're talking about. I know that company. So what we need to know about this is, why did the interest rates go down? Because inflation is still rearing its ugly head, right? We still have inflation problem. Now we're at 6%. A year ago, we were at 9% inflation. So 6% inflation, I was thinking about that. We lost a third of our inflation from the high, but we've been stubbornly at the 6% for a very long time now. They keep raising the rates. The Fed's raising the reserve rates, but that doesn't seem to be making a dent. Then we had the bank failures, which we talked about last week, Johnny, and Silicon Valley Bank, and then actually that was the only bank that failed last Saturday. So we talked about Silicon Valley, and the thing I said, everybody said that was a self-contained incident. And I said, do you remember Bear Stearns? Because that's exactly what they said about Bear
Yikes.
Stearns on the first time that this went around. And then we lost, you know how many banks we lost during that period? 465 banks we lost during that period. Is that amazing?
It is.
So this is the second worst time we've lost banks, believe it or not. That's what they're telling us since the Great Depression. And we lost Silicon Valley. At First Republic's in trouble. It got bailed out. There were another bank. Wait, I learned a new word today. Credit
You did not learn it.
Did you learn it?
No.
I didn't learn it.
No,
Yeah,
no.
thank you, Johnny.
What
I
is
don't.
it? Credit Suisse?
I don't. Yeah, Credit Suisse, not Credit Suisse.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Everybody was called Credit, and I'm like, I thought it was credit. I didn't know any better.
They're probably that's how you pronounce it in English, but with a Swiss accent.
Yeah, Credit or the Jim DePola accent, one or the other. So we had all these bank failures, and I really think that the bank failures and the drop in the stock market, I think that's really helped with the interest rates not going up too much. I might be wrong because it all was happening at the same time, so nobody might have had that kind of outlook.
The traditional kind of a simple model is when there's economic instability, either locally or nationally or globally, the 10-year treasury becomes a pretty safe instrument.
Yes.
Right. And so mortgage rates kind of follow the trend on the treasury. And so when the treasury yield is going down, you can kind of expect mortgage rates to go down. And why does the T-bill go down? Because it's attractive. And so when they're selling more of it, the yield goes down. So that's the traditional, right? So if there's global economic uncertainty, people invest in the U.S. Treasury. And that's when it goes down in yield, and therefore mortgage rates will kind of follow that trend a little bit.
So
you got that, Johnny?
I do, yeah. And it's such a scary approach, but it is a cause and effect that you've noticed over, and it's a trend that continues today.
Yeah.
What's fascinating though is so inflation, we all know, is because spending, not only consumer spending, but from the Fed as well. And they're doing everything they can to quote unquote stop inflation, but now we're bailing out banks.
Well, here's something interesting.
Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there'll be some on that bailout of the bank. There'll be some return for the U.S. Treasury, right? For the government, for the U.S. government, right?
I listened. I was driving around listening to one of the news shows on Sirius. I don't know which station it was or anything, but I actually heard somebody complaining that the government was, quote, making a profit off of this bailout.
Oh,
right.
Geez.
And I don't know. I don't understand that because I only caught part of the story. But I was thinking, you know what? I understand that government shouldn't be making, quote, profits, but can count it as a profit if they're bailing somebody out and they're trying to get their money back or return on what they're doing, so that, because that's taxpayer money they're using. So getting money back to replenish the coffers, I don't see a problem with that.
Well,
but I didn't hear the whole article, so I might change my mind.
What if conceptually you have to borrow the money in order to bail them out?
We do,
right? So we're leveraged on that money that's being used to bail. So you know, it costs money to borrow that money.
Yeah, because
Nationally.
we've cut all the the taxes have all been cut. So like the revenue that comes in, the stream has gone down, down, down. So it's all about borrowing, which is how inflation's gotten away. And it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It's like, well, we're just spending more. I don't know how inflation's going to get tampered at the rates that we're at right now, which is the spending rates.
One of the things that
especially as a consumer.
One of the things that we never talk about on the show is, do you remember when we had quantitative easing?
Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
We got to go back to the Obama days.
Well, now we're doing quantitative tightening now.
And the QE is what got us down to the historically low interest rates.
It's actually negative, right?
Right.
So
negative, right?
Right. It actually went to negative is what I learned about that quantitative easing. So when they brought the rate down to 0, that wasn't enough when Bernanke did that. So then they, after they did that, then they started with the quantitative easing, which actually brought it to negative interest rates
and
for the reserve.
Part of, at least speculative, part of the issues that we're at now is because we never reversed that course in
fast
the time
enough
that we should have.
Yeah.
Well, words were being, the economy's good. That's when it should have started. And it just, the delay of 4 to 6 years kind of leads us to where we're at now. And of course, COVID didn't help.
And so that gets us to the last two things I want to talk about before the break in this subject, which is the Fed is going to meet Tuesday. And it's a big question. Everybody was wondering, is the Fed going to, everybody assumed before the bank bailouts that
another
quarter point. Everybody was pretty confident. Then we got the inflation report. Wasn't good. The jobs market was too strong. Unemployment rate went up a little bit, but nothing, 3.4 to 3.6. So everybody was wondering, are they going to do a half point? Maybe they'll do a half point instead of quarter point. And everybody was freaking out. Then we had the bank failures. And then they're like, maybe they're not going to do any increase at all. Then I heard a report on CNBC just yesterday. It came out where they said, no, they're predicting that the Fed is going to raise it a quarter point anyway, because even though we're having these bank issues, it isn't volatile enough because the inflation is still so strong that they're just going to keep pounding away. So they're going to raise it another quarter point. Whether that's going to turn into, now this gets to the final leg of this segment, which is the buyers. What does it mean as a buyer and a seller in this market, right?
Yeah, what does it?
So in the buyers, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, okay? If you're thinking about buying this year, even if it isn't right now and you're thinking later on in the year, you got to start the process now. Get your pre-approval as soon as you can and know what you can afford based on today's current mortgage rates, and understand how the mortgage rates going up or down will affect your purchasing power. So if you want to buy something in October, get approved now. Let us set you up on a excellent search so that you can understand the market, and have Mike set you up with an app so you know exactly what's going on. Because if you do this incorrectly, the interest rates are jumping up and down so much. You're not going to have time. You're not going to have the luxury of time to decide, do I want to do this right this moment or not? There's a very good chance you're going to be in a hectic situation. And it's much better to have a plan and be proactive than to be reactive. So if you are a buyer, you got to sit down and talk to the One Stop Real Estate Shop. Get a consultation with Mike. Understand your options. Let me set you up on the perfect search to find to what you're looking for. And then you're in best control you can be. You can't control what's happening in the interest rates, but you can control how you react to those.
That's it.
Yeah. You can also, and I say this, that it's some people get intimidated about that initial process because, you know, you're sharing private information and maybe you think like, I got to have all this documentation gathered and it's just a pain in the butt. It's, I won't say it's painless, but it's pretty easy process, right, Jim? Just to see where you stand. Like what happens if you're in that category where you want to buy later this year and you think you're going to be fine on your finance, like you need a mortgage, right? You think you're going to be fine on mortgage. And then when the time comes, oh, maybe there's a speed bump, or maybe there's a hiccup, or maybe there's something you could have worked on in the meantime to make it put yourself in a better position. So it's just really easy to find that information out. And it's not high pressure. It's just a conversation. Depending on what your plans are, I might get all your information, which is I can generally do over the phone, right? Like 10, 15 minute call,
10 minutes,
gather the info and have a really good idea of where you stand. Is it green light now, or do you have a couple things you need to get in place? And so pretty important step that's needed. And the sooner the better in my view.
We're the one-stop shop. Just give us a call for that, and we'll help you out. Now, the last thing I was going to say for sellers,
Florida Talk Real
Florida
Estate.
Talk Real Estate.
Florida Talk Real Estate.
Last thing I want to say about this for sellers, it's just as important for you to understand what's going on with interest rates, because interest rates can greatly affect the sale of your property. Right now, we're still in a pretty strong market. The last 5 houses I sold got 98% of list price to sold price. So we're still doing pretty good. But
That's your stats like holding tight, right?
Our stats are
98%?
holding tight right
Yeah.
now. And right now, that stat is going down across South Florida. We started out at 101% of list price to sold price in
Yeah.
Palm Beach County. Now we're down to 92%. So, that's 10% difference almost right there, 9% difference.
Those are people that are chasing the market, right?
Yes. So you have to understand what's going on in this market in order to get a good sale like Tom that we talked about. And
that's 92% list to sale, right?
Original list price,
original
list price with no drops. If you had a couple drops, they're not including that. They're counting what you originally put it on the market for to what you actually sold it for, and that's what the stats I'm using.
And Florida Home Pros, led by Jim DePola, is 98%.
That's right. So if you want to, and if you're getting 92% on average for the county, and I'm getting you 98. I just paid for my real estate commission and the other side's real estate commission for you.
Sure did.
Because I'm making up that difference. So give us a call. We'd love to work with you. On the flip side, Johnny and Mike, what we're going to talk about is Florida, a paradise full of dread.
Well, I can't wait.
This is going to be uplifting. That's what it's going to be. Thank you for being with us on a Saturday. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. That's one-stop real estate shop, as we've dubbed it over the years. Of course, it's access to the entire team. Pros. These are people that are absolutely fantastic at what they do, and you'll love that they work so cohesively together, picking up the phone, answering questions, making sure what you're trying to get done gets done right by you. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. We got a 4-minute break. We get back to it. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate's right here on Real Radio.
Introducing the latest way to hear the greatest station in the world. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
I'll say it again, 877-927-6969. That is toll free. We know it works. We've used it already today. We are live on this March 18th, the day after St. Patty's Day. Hope you had a nice Friday. Hope you celebrated our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy's birthday. Hello, my brother.
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Johnny C, that's me, your air traffic control. Of course, you're welcome to join us. We still got plenty of time on this Saturday. We'll take you till 11. That's 2 hours of infotainment every Saturday, 9 until 11, Florida Talk Real Estate style. The locker room will be taking over following us here on Real Radio. Us, that's me, Johnny C. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, is here. Hi.
Yep, in the house. Hello.
Hola.
Good morning. Buenos dias.
Michael. Buenos dias.
Bom dia.
Oh, that's a new one on me.
That's Portuguese.
And what did you say?
Good morning.
Oh, say it again.
Oh, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Like bom dia, but with,
bom dia.
little some accent in there. Bom dia.
So if I'm in Brazil and I say bom dia, they'll be like, hey.
You're pretty close, maybe.
Close?
Yeah.
Might get punched
You
in
might
the
have
face.
just asked them out.
What do you want me to do to you?
What? No, I'm not a lady boy.
I think if you go to Brazil and you say that, they're going to say hi.
Yeah, that's very likely as well.
Yeah, true.
They might even know you over there, John. World famous.
It's possible.
Johnny C.
With the iHeartRadio app, you never know. You just never know.
Jim, did you already introduce Jim? I'm
No,
sorry.
but
All
he's right here. That's Jimmy D. Jim DePola. I've told you for about 11 plus years now. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team, Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. And Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing good. What's up, Mike?
I was asking, you had a lot of callers last week, right?
Last
I
week
wasn't
we had
here,
several
but you had
callers. Yeah, and
what's up with the phone lines today?
yeah, today's a little slow. We are live. We love your calls. We'll stop whatever we're talking about to answer any questions you have about real estate. You want to ask questions about the show. You want to talk to Johnny C, who doesn't. Give us a call. We're live right now, 877-927-6969.
Oh, I got a question for you. How's your bracket?
I don't know anything about basketball, even though I own that sports agency with Renegade Sports. I don't know
Sometimes
anything.
not knowing anything is best. How's your bracket?
Yeah, exactly.
I
right?
haven't done a bracket. I haven't been paying attention.
So,
No.
Mike, I got to ask you, this is Brazilian stuff because of your jiu-jitsu background now. Is that how you started learning that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Because you have all those Brazilian
my
friends,
best
right?
buddy Eddie is Brazilian.
Right.
And he's I've known him longer than I've been doing jiu-jitsu. As a matter of fact, he got me into it. But it doesn't take long to learn good morning in a different language.
Well,
Isn't it funny though? You mentioned Portuguese, and I instantly think Brazil, not Portugal.
Yeah,
Is it?
I think
I know, isn't that wild?
that's probably pretty
I know.
common, like in this part of the world, right?
I
Where
guess,
we're
right.
in the West.
That's
I
our
guess.
side.
I think
our
I'm
side.
gonna.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking, I think I'm gonna buy the fight tonight. It's Usman is
Okay.
fighting, and I'm gonna probably get the fight
You can
tonight.
just go out to a bar, Jim. You don't have to sit at home alone.
I'm gonna stay home because I'm gonna fix these camera systems when I'm home this week. I'm gonna take all these cameras that aren't working right, trying to make this show better with better cameras. So we're gonna try to work on that. Cam.
And if you're wondering what we're talking about, we stream live every Saturday on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate, and on YouTube as well. Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, streaming live while we're on the radio.
That's absolutely true. Hey, I want to switch into Florida, a paradise filled with dread.
No.
Okay. Yes, we're going to talk about it because I'm just laughing about all this stuff that's happening right now. So,
welcome to Florida.
It's not the traffic either.
Right. That's what I always say. You know, we have a little channel on our YouTube channel, a sub channel called Welcome to Florida. And we love it because I do love Florida. I love living here. I've been here for a long time. I've had many opportunities to move out of state.
We choose to live here.
I'm not moving because I love Florida and all the wackiness and everything. That's what makes Florida great. I wouldn't want to be in some boring state like Kansas. What do you ever hear about Kansas? You don't hear anything about Kansas.
Is Florida the only state you can do that with? Duh. Is there any other state that ends with a duh?
California, duh. No, that doesn't work either.
California, duh.
Yeah.
Georgia, duh. I mean,
Virginia, duh.
No,
Georgia,
Florida, duh. It works. And
oh, how about this? Idaho.
Idaho. That's a good one. I like that one. But Florida, we have to give the shout out.
Hey, the hose are for everybody.
We got to give the shout out, Dr. Rich, because I'm stealing that little word from Dr. Rich. Now, maybe he got it from somebody else, but God bless Dr. Rich from the Love Doctors. The original Love Doctors on Real Radio, the guy who started the whole station.
No Real Radio without no Love Doctors.
Yeah, so God bless you, Rich. I hope you're doing
so. Dr.
okay.
Rich invented or coined the term Florida.
No, I don't know, but that's the first time I heard it.
Okay.
So I'm giving props
credit.
to where I have to give props. You know, you got to be. That's the right radio thing to do, right, Johnny?
That's right. It's ethical.
So whether it's flying cockroaches or zombie iguanas that are falling out of the tree.
Yeah, had me jumping there for a second.
What did you think? Whether it's flying cockroaches or zombie iguanas falling out of the trees or the red tie, if it's weird, it's happening in Florida. Isn't that true? I mean, anything that's weird is going to happen in Florida, right?
Perfect.
So, you know, a couple weeks ago, and this isn't funny, but a couple weeks ago, we had that poor woman in Port St. Lucie walking her dog.
Oh, my God.
By the lake. And then the alligator grabbed the dog. She fought off the alligator. God bless her. Then the alligator got her, pulled her under, and then she passed. 85-year-old woman. That was horrible.
Anybody note that dog did not have the same care for her that she did for it?
Yeah, it probably just ran away.
It's like, screw
I'm
you.
out of here.
Good luck.
I'm out of here.
I think the dog was like, because I saw the video and the dog was able to evade, and he looked up, he's like, why didn't you move quicker?
Yeah.
Like, type of thing. And I mean, it's tragic, of course. I mean, it's crazy to think. Now, anybody who's lived here for a while should know any body of water could have a gator in it. Like that's kind of the golden rule down here, anywhere in the state of Florida, I would say, right? Like so if there's a fresh water, even brackish water, be careful, right?
I evade puddles.
Yeah.
I don't walk too close to puddles with my dog.
And you know what? Exactly what Mike was saying. You know, as tragic as it was, the woman was walking by a lake with a little tiny
a snack,
doggy nugget, right, for an alligator. So you kind of expect, even though it's tragic, you kind of expect this to happen. But this guy from Daytona this week, this guy has the worst luck in the whole world. That's why I'm talking about it today, right? So there's a guy from Daytona. This happened actually last week. I didn't catch it until yesterday. The poor guy, he hears this noise. Did you guys hear about this story from Daytona?
I haven't.
The guy hears a noise in the middle of the night out in his front door, like somebody's near his front door knocking on the door or something like that. He heard this noise, right?
Okay.
So he goes outside. It's dark out. He opens up his screen door. Shouldn't have done that.
Nope.
As soon as you open the screen door, a big gigantic alligator came and chomped on his leg.
Right at him.
Right.
Boom.
Now, this isn't near a lake. He wasn't walking near a lake. This is the front door. And then I saw on the video, I watched WESH TV or whatever, the news station up there in Daytona, and they showed like the neighborhood. It looked just like a regular anybody's neighborhood. So it didn't look like he was like in a swampy area or anything. And the alligator was just sitting out there in the front yard. He opens up the screen door. The alligator doesn't even wait, just chomps on his leg. So the trapper that caught the alligator and killed it said, and this is my favorite, and he was real country, a real Florida guy, real Florida guy. And he says, that's some crazy Florida stuff.
Yes,
he goes,
it is.
I've been trapping for a long time. He goes, I've never seen an alligator just attack somebody like that.
It kind of makes you think, like, what do you do, Johnny? If you hear weird noises outside your house, are you going out or are you staying in?
No,
What
I
do you
elbow
do?
my wife and I'm like, go check
Go
that
see what
out.
that
Right?
is.
Yeah.
It's
Get
like
up.
that. It's like that commercial where it's like the horror movie spoof, and they're like, let's hide behind the chainsaws, like
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Get in the car.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
let's go hide behind the chainsaws.
So this
right?
poor guy,
assume,
Jim,
though, I assume when you said Daytona, I didn't connect, but when you said I heard knock at the door, I was like, oh, that guy totally fed that gator, right?
did he? I didn't know that.
No, I just assume.
No.
Like that gator went to that door knocking like, dude, where's my pizza?
That's
Where's
what
my
I was thinking,
Good one.
but it didn't say anything like that in the story. It was just this. That's some crazy
What
Florida
about this?
stuff.
Maybe
thing.
he fed the domesticated geese or ducks that were around there, and then the gator's like, he
Okay.
could be giving breadcrumbs to some other animal, and the
Okay.
gator's like there. I have a question. Where's Ross when we need him? Does that guy does he have an insurance claim?
Oh yeah, it is.
Right?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a
And
good
if
thing.
he
We'll
fed the
ask him.
gator, does that mean he doesn't have a claim?
It voided it.
Maybe
Wow.
Ross is listening to the show, and you could type it in on Facebook or YouTube. Ross, hint, hint. If you're listening to the show this week, he'll be on the show next week. So anyway, you have that poor guy. What kind of buzzard luck do you have that you just open up your front door to see what's going on your front door, not near a water or anything, not in
Yeah.
a swampy area, and you get chomped on by the gator? Now the good thing is he didn't get chomped too hard. He was only treated for minor injuries. And
Fortunate.
didn't lose anything or
Yeah.
anything, so that was a good thing. Although I got to tell you, alligator bites nasty for infections.
I bet.
Does
So-
he have a new pair of boots at this point?
I have no idea, but
They're red.
and then the
Right.
final
That's a callback.
Inside out.
Call that a callback.
the final thing I want to talk about with crazy wacky Florida stuff. Did you hear about this giant seaweed blob that's heading to Florida right now?
Yeah. It's
I'm
Did you
looking at
see
how
how-
you type this up, Jim. You put a space between sea and weed. Does that mean it's like a weed blob that's floating in the sea, or is it a seaweed blob?
It's a one word seaweed blob. Don't get too complicated, Mike, because it's
Well, it could be
So-
a big like Jamaican
the reason
man-made Jamaican style island that's floating around.
the reason why I'm bringing this up is this is what was surprising to me is that
Yeah,
it was
man.
5,000 miles wide. This
Yeah.
carpet of seaweed coming to Florida is 5,000 miles wide.
Hmm.
The United States is 3,000 miles wide.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, give me something to compare. So it's wider than the
from New York
from
to Oregon. From New York to Oregon, it's wider than that
Wow.
I read
by almost double.
I read and following this over the course of the week.
Mhm.
I didn't realize, like, down in Miami-Dade, they spend like $6-7 million a year removing seaweed off the beaches. Like that's a healthy investment to remove the seaweed off the beaches. And here comes a bunch.
In 2018, when
Get the rakes out.
this is supposed to be the largest seaweed blob recorded in the history of the world. Of course, it's coming to Florida, right? It has to. But the last biggest seaweed blob was in 2018, and it hit Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula, and all the tourism. They lost like
Killed it.
40% of their tourism. So that's why Dade County will spend $6 to $7 million a year to clear out that stuff. Because some of the seaweed, when this blob comes, they're saying that when it hits the shores, it could be 3 feet high. This stuff is going to be 3 feet high
Like
when it
thick
hits. Yeah,
in
3
the
feet
water?
tall.
And then it rots.
Wow.
And then it rots and,
And
stinky.
it brings in all kinds of jellyfish and mites and like stinging things.
Yeah, that's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. And then it just rots. and-
Maybe somebody should
Oh.
genetically engineer a bacteria that can eat the seaweed. What do you think?
Well,
Is that a
that's
good
why
idea?
it's
That is a good
funny
idea.
that you're bringing that up, because the reason why it's growing, they're saying, is pollution. It's eating off the pollution, and that's why it's growing so big. So it's a good thing that it's eating the pollution, but it's growing and growing and growing, get bigger. And the thing is that it can kill the coral reefs
Yeah.
because it can clog it. It
What
can
about-
get into the mangroves, choke them out.
The mangroves. are
Seaweed processes sunlight, right? With chloro, right? It operates like a photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
So when you
yeah.
if you destroy it, aren't you releasing a bunch of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere too? It's almost like burning a rainforest type of thing.
Gosh, why are you doing this? right
It's crazy. I'm
now? No, I don't think they burn it.
advocating.
I think they collect it and they move it to the dumps.
Okay,
Yeah.
use it for fuel.
I guess. Yeah.
Now,
Well,
Jim, something
appar-
else caught my attention.
Sure, go ahead.
You said it's 5,000 miles wide, so wider than the U.S. It got me thinking, like, well, how wide is the ocean? The Atlantic,
like
because
how
it's in the
much is-
Atlantic, right? So I looked at the ocean's only 3,000 miles wide.
Well, this is what the scientists
So it's on
said.
the
They
whole
said it
ocean.
isn't. They're saying it isn't like a complete mass. It's like
Oh, it's like a
most
bed.
of it. Some of it's like an acre
Yeah.
in in circumference or whatever, or a square acre mile or whatever. Not an acre
An
mile,
acre.
square acre.
How about just an
And
acre?
then there might be a gap. There might be a gap of regular water, and then another blob that
yeah.
might be a half acre. But when you put it all together, it comes out to 5,000 from one end to the other end. 5,000 miles. So we're going to be attacked by it's called sargassum. Is the name of the type of seaweed is sargassum, and they think it's weighs 10 million pounds.
Wow.
This thing's coming,
And it's headed for us.
and we gotta love
Is it
Florida.
inevitable? Is it?
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to make a U-turn and come back. So at first it's supposed to hit the Gulf, and then it's going to go through the Caribbean, make a U-turn, and then it's supposed to hit the east coast of Florida.
Like Hurricane Ivan.
Exactly.
I also heard that people with respiratory issues are going to have some trouble with it too because of the gas that it gives off.
Yes, it gives off gases, and also there's some kind of I can't think. I lost the article. I'm doing all this off of memory from yesterday. There's, besides the gases that are coming off in the smell and the algae, there's some kind of like organism that's created from this that can get you sick too.
Okay.
So yeah, just to make things a little more cheerier about the whole
Yeah, I was
thing.
going to say that all sounds pretty optimistic, Jim. Thanks.
Want to
Yeah,
go to
thanks on
Florida? Go to
your
Florida.
Saturday morning.
Party.com. Yes.
Some of the most beautiful beaches in the world if you could uncover from the seaweed blob.
Although a lot of what I was reading, they were saying most of our beaches that you think about, like
They're
as
gonna
the
be fine.
beaches, probably not going to be impacted.
Yeah.
So I hope that's the case. The ones that are frequented by most people, but regardless, irregardless.
Regardless,
there is no irregardless.
Well,
That's
that's
a
not
fake word.
true. Actually,
they added it, didn't they?
certain in the Midwest, they definitely say irregardless, and it's in the dictionary that way.
Are you sure? Did you look it up one time?
I'm sure I've looked that up before.
I think Noah Mike, he's probably
I'm
looked this
sure.
up, but go ahead and look up again while I'm trying to figure out the
See
other
if
thing.
it's a
Because I don't
real word-
believe you, because
real
I've
word or
always,
not.
when I was a writer, you weren't allowed to use irregardless. It was a fake word.
I thought they just added it.
Yeah.
Within the past couple of years.
Oh, they might have.
I think they
Because
have.
I'm
Well, that-
old. They're
that-
making up words now from
That
when
doesn't
I
mean
was.
it's right then, though. It
Well,
doesn't.
it's
Yeah,
just-
once they grant, like in the last 10 years, if they grant it, that just means we're dumbing it down.
when you're a writer, in order to have everything uniform in newspapers, there was the Bible for
The Writer's Bible.
Writer's Bible was the AP press book, right? So it told you exactly how to type things. Like if you, for example, if you were writing the number three people, blah blah blah, well then you would write. I hope I get this right because it's been so long.
It's THREE.
THREE. But if you're talking about 10 people or more, you put the number 10 or the number 11, the number 12. And there's all these style formulations from AP. And you always use, what does the AP book say? And then you go back and look at the AP book. And back then, irregardless was not a word. So if it is a word now.
Do you want me to read what it says?
Yeah, I'd love to what it says.
It says Merriam-Webster, who's pretty definitive, right? Defines irregardless as non-standard. I'm putting that in quotes, but meaning the same as regardless. Many people find irregardless to be a nonsensical word, as the ear prefix usually functions to indicate negation. However, in this case, it appears to function as an intensifier. So not only is it regardless, it's irregardless, Jim.
So that makes it a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You're bringing it to a whole nother level.
It's like further than, it's like more than regardless.
Yeah. It's even.
So it's from the Department of Redundancy Department?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Hey, good morning, Joyce.
Hey, mama.
Yep. My mama reached in and said hello a little bit earlier. So good morning. I hope you're doing great. Hey, I want to try to get through 2 segments before we end the show. Okay. So the first section we're going to talk about, and this is something I waited for Mike because I was going to talk about this last week. And this is understanding the South Florida market and understanding numbers. So I want to talk about that. And then at the end, because I didn't talk about this last week, I really want to talk about this week. Florida sucks. I'm moving to Vegas, and I'm moving to Vegas. You guys don't know. I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit. Okay.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. But Let's talk about the South Florida market. There was an article that came out, Mike, last week that I didn't get to talk to you about. And I really wanted you to be here for the show. And it was an article in the Sun Sentinel. Now, I'm not beating up this reporter. I'm not going to mention her name.
They used it regardless.
Yeah, no, but they were trying to do an article talking about what's happening in today's real estate market for South Florida. So if you're a regular consumer and you're not in the market every day and you're trying to figure out, are prices going up, are they going down, are buyers in the market, are they out of the market? It's very confusing to really know what's going on in today's market. So this is the headline of the article in the Sun Sentinel that ran on March 9th. Home values in South Florida jumped 13% despite a slowing market, right? So not too bad. But here's what I want to tell you. Okay, it says in South Florida, home values have increased upward of at least 13% over the last year, depending on the area, despite rising interest rates and a cooling market, right? And this is coming from Redfin. So they're taking an article from Redfin, which if I were the Sun Sentinel, I would not be using Redfin as my news base to start doing stories, because what the heck does Redfin know? They just lost how much did they lose? $500 million in their iBuyer program. But now they're telling us what's happening in the real estate market. You know, just stick to what you do, Redfin. You're not very good at what you know, other stuff, but it is what it is. People respect it. So it's talking about how the property values have increased year over year by that much. Now, if you're a buyer and you hear that, and you know that the interest rates are at 6% or more, Mike,
and have gone up
and have been going up.
Yep.
That makes you think, oh my gosh, I'm very depressed. I don't want to buy a property in this market. So what am I going to wait for? I'm going to wait for the prices to go down.
Yep.
Right now, let's take a look.
You hope for the prices to go down, Jim. You said 1% increase in rates equals a 10% reduction in buying power, which means to buy the same home with and have the same payment, you need the home to come down 10%. Not go up, not stay flat. You need the home price to come down 10% to even have the same mortgage payment you had before when the rate was lower.
Yep.
Exactly.
So that's like a double whammy. Housing prices increasing and interest rates increasing.
Okay,
Ouch.
but let's take a look at this. Okay. And this is what gets me bummed out all the time about the way that media analyzes what's happening in the market. I kind of understand where they're coming from, but I don't feel it gives people that are in the market right now, like if people are making decisions, am I going to buy or going to sell, using the information the way that that's presented is not the way I would present it talking to people. And let me just give you an example. Okay, so right now, this is of January. The February stats for the MLS will not come out until next week. And we'll talk about what happens in February next week. But in January's report, the median sales price for single-family homes in January, and this is pretty common throughout South Florida, so I'm just going to stick with one county, was $582,500. Now, they're saying that's a 10.6% increase year over year. So a year ago, January, it was 10.6% lower for the median sales price than today. So that's pretty healthy, right? We had a 10% increase. The Redfin saying 13%. It isn't that far off, right? Pretty accurate, right? So when you're hearing that prices have gone up 13% and you're a buyer and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm just so priced out of this market. What people don't understand is that, yeah, we might be 10% year over year from January. So to give you an example, 10% is, we were at a year ago, January, we were at 526,500. Now we're at 582,500. Pretty healthy increase, right?
50 grand.
But the peak for the last 12 months was 620.
That's that is what's going through my mind, Jim. So the year over year always is kind of funky for me, because I would compare it to the peak. Like, what was it at its highest and what is it now? But I thought about this too. If you were, let's say you're a home buyer and you got to a point last January, you were in the market and you just couldn't find anything that fit the bill. And so what did you do?
You waited.
You signed a lease for a year renting. Now here you are January again. And in that scenario kind of makes sense. You're like, holy cow, I hope. So housing prices have come down compared to the peak. but they could still be up compared to when I was looking the last time.
And in this case, it went from 526 to 582.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, in the middle, you would have paid maybe more because it was as high as 620. But what this doesn't report when you're in the news media is that buyers are actually seeing prices go down a little bit from the peak, and you're not hearing that.
Yeah. So now if you've been shopping for the past 6 months, you're feeling good. You're like, finally things are settling down. But if you were asleep for a year.
Right. Or you're just reading the headlines. It's like, I'm waiting to see the news change so I can do something. That's too late. That's the buffalo herd. We used to call about the buffalo herd all the time. By the time people realize what's happening in the market's already shifted. And I've been saying that for years and years.
Yeah, long time.
And even last year, I'm like, if you're thinking this year, you're going to be waiting for things to happen. It's going to be so choppy, up and down, up and down. You're not going to know what's happening. You got to have a plan. And that's what I was saying in the earlier segment. You got to be proactive. So you can't just read these headlines and shut down emotionally. If your goal is to buy a house, whether you're trying to sell a house to buy a new one, or you're a first-time home buyer, or you're moving down here and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to rent for a year and then see for the prices to drop. We're not seeing the prices drop dramatically yet. We are seeing it down from the peak, but they're still holding. We're not seeing a straight trajectory downwards at all.
Yeah.
We're seeing our prices hold pretty tight. It's being almost as stubborn as inflation. We're not seeing that big correction everybody wants, even with the interest rates going up. Now, what you will see is that as the interest rates go up, you're going to see the buyers are very sensitive in this market. Quarter point can make or break whether somebody can afford to buy the house they're looking for.
So this is where I get so lost in our markets that we've been through, Jim. So our values are holding, right? In the bust, right? When we first started this show, in the bust, I remember really being stubborn and like, why the house has value, right? The block, the wood, it has value. Just because someone can't afford to make the payment doesn't sap all the value out of that home, right? The bank may be screwed, right? But the value of the home still exists. The bottom fell out. It always feels so like controlled and manipulated when you see these two examples, because why is the value holding? Because people can afford their mortgages. If they start foreclosing, the value is going to fall out.
Yes.
Why is that? Why are we propped up so thinly?
Inventory.
Is that why?
It's really all about the inventory and demand.
So it was inventory goes way up and then our values just plummet.
Because you have so many choices.
So it's not a value thing. It is ultimately a supply and demand thing.
It is a total supply and demand. It's all about supply
the
and
value
demand.
it's a mirage.
There you inventory goes up because there's less buyers in the market. So when we had the crash and a lot of people in trouble on their payments. Well, guess what? They can't get a new mortgage.
Yeah.
So they had to rent. Like, what was their option? They're short selling, foreclosing, and then they're renting.
Had they just adjusted and they be in the banks so where people could afford to stay,
sure,
they would have stayed. But again, totally different game.
Back when we started the show in 2012, I don't remember if you remember one of the first mortgage brokers we had on the show the first year was Ira Goldberg. Do you remember him?
I remember the name.
Ira.
Yes.
Ira's a really great guy. But he used to be the South. Now I might get this completely little wrong. It's close, but he was like the Southeast Regional Director for Countrywide.
Ooh.
Countrywide was the worst lender in the history of the United States. They got in a lot of trouble. Remember that guy Mozillo?
The
guy who ran that company. They wrote a lot of dirty loans. It was a lot of dirty loans. So what I mean by dirty, they were complying with the way the federal government allowed them to do it at the time. But they knew those loans weren't going to hold, right? And then they were
alternative income documentation.
Okay, so
fog and mirror, get a loan.
So what Ira said on the show, he had done an analysis for Countrywide when he was there during the crisis, saying if we just reset anybody that had this was like we were on the show 2012. So he said anybody that got a mortgage refi from 2003 to 2006, if we just took just those mortgages and reset them to the current value of that day of 2012 and forgave the rest, right? So let's say somebody got a mortgage for $400,000 and the house was only worth $250 at that moment. To reset the mortgage at $250 at the current interest rates, not a reduced interest rate or anything, and just did that and reset everybody, that we would have walked away from all the crisis that we
Crisis.
went through. And it would have cost us, he even figured it out, it would have cost about $1 trillion. We
Right.
lost something like that quantitative easing cost us, I just read it yesterday, it cost us $8 trillion to do that by buying those mortgage-backed securities with the quantitative easing and printing the money to buy the mortgage-backed securities. It cost us $8 trillion. So if they just reset everything at 1 trillion, everybody would have been able to keep their house. The mortgages would have been affordable. We would have wiped out all that fake equity.
The right pockets wouldn't have got filled.
And then,
though.
but the Wall Street versus Main Street.
That's it. Every time.
I mean, they say hindsight is 2020, but I bet you there's about 20 different variations of what we should have done at the time, depending on who you're talking to, how it could have been saved, right?
So look, don't rely on the bottom line I want to make on this, because I know we have a caller, right?
Sure. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So the bottom line I want to make on understanding these numbers and understanding the market, Mike, is you need to have a professional sit down with. If you're basing your information on the local news or what you're seeing on, the Flotsam Jetsam or the 24-hour news networks, you're really not knowing what's happening in the market, and you're not really in the market. You're just like playing around, dabbling on the fringes of
Kicking
the market.
tires.
Yeah, you are. So come up with a plan, be proactive, set your life. Don't be reactive to the market, set your life. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about how to make the next chapter of your life a great chapter of your life.
Yeah, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Reach out. You can call 888-973-7828. That's the hotline. You'll find it at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Access to the entire team. Your one-stop real estate shop. Who's on hold there, Jimothy?
Well, speaking of phone calls, we have Pepe checking in with us, and he has a call about maybe possibly relocating from Vero to West Palm Beach. Pepe, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Pepe. I got to ask you, so you're doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Most people are telling me they want to move to Vero. Because I do a lot of stuff in Vero now, and you're thinking of going opposite. So what's up with that, Pepe?
I would prefer to stay in Vero, but I have a grandson now, and I'm not going to do this soon, but I would say in 3-4 years. If his father and I have anything to do with it, he's going to be heavily into sports. So I'm going to want to be near him. I don't want to have to be driving 70 miles every time I got to come down and see him. So, and my son's all over me about, getting a place down there. So my question was going to be, if I didn't say that I like Vero very much. It's like Palm Beach County I moved to Palm Beach County in 79. It's very similar to what Palm Beach County was back then.
It is. Now that you're saying that, it is very similar to that right now.
Yeah.
Vero is a very nice area.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. That being said, I guess my biggest question is it difficult? Because I'm going to have to obviously sell my house. I have to sell the house before I would move down there, and I have to work it into doing both at the same time. How does that all work? What's the way of complicated?
Pepe, I almost feel like you're setting us up like it's almost a staged call, because you know what we're going to talk about, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We're going to talk about what we call the seller buyer program. Seller buyer.
One word.
Seller buyer. Okay, saying it really
fast. Seller buyer what?
Seller buyer. We're kind of joking with you here, Pepe. We actually, because of working with so many short sales back in the day, and we had to get the owners out of the house. We never knew when the bank was going to say yes. And then we had to get the sellers out of their house very quickly in order to comply with the bank's regulations and demands. We had to figure out a way for people to move out of their house almost simultaneously as when they're selling. And then I converted that when the market got better. I had to convert that to regular deals where the person is selling their house, taking the proceeds from that house to buy the new home. And that is what I always call the delicate dance, right, Johnny? We always called it the delicate dance, because if you don't do everything right, I make Pepe homeless.
Yes, and we don't want that.
And I don't want to make Pepe homeless. And we don't want that to happen. So there are ways to do that. Anybody listening going, I can't sell my house because how am I going to buy a house if I don't have the money from the sale of my house? How are they going to take my offer? And how am I going to put my house on the market if I don't know what I'm going to buy? Well, that's why we call it the seller buyer program. And what we do is we map out the whole plan before we put your house on the market. The whole thing has to be worked out. Now, the number one thing you do is not worry about the sale of your house. We worry about where you're moving to first. We're trying to figure out budget with Mike. We get you over to Mike Rauch, assuming you need financing. I'm going to figure out what we could sell your house for and what you would net. Then based on those proceeds, we give that information over to Mike, and Mike checks your credit and figures out what you want to buy and what your budget is. And then we know the numbers on what you can buy. Then we take that information, then we go back into the searching for the houses that you might want to buy on that budget and make sure that it's doable, that you're not looking for a unicorn, that the house is out there for you in your budget that would make you want to sell your house to buy the new home. Does that make sense so far, Pepe?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so then once we figure that out and we start looking at houses on the MLS, and you start saying, wow, if I were on the market right now, I'd buy that house, or I'd go out in my car and look at it. And if it looks like it does on the MLS listing, that would be a pretty cool house for me. And you start seeing 3 or 4 or 5 of those, then we know what you can do is doable in your budget. And then we have the confidence to put the house on the market when you're ready. Okay. Now, when you put the house on the market, we have to have a clause in there, a legal clause that says, hey, Mr. Buyer, I really appreciate you turning an offer in my house. I'd love to accept your offer, but you have to give me time to find the new house I want to buy before I can close. And then we set up a time frame to give you the time needed to find your house. And if you can't find the home in that time frame, you're allowed to break the contract with the buyer. You give the buyer their deposit back if they don't want to wait for you to find your house. And then that way you're not trapped on selling your house if you haven't found one. Okay. Then if you buy a house, if we find a house that you want to buy, we're going to have also a clause, a legal clause in that contract saying, hey, I want to let you know I'm buying your house, but I've got to sell my house. And if my house doesn't sell, I want to be able to cancel the contract on this house that I'm buying and get my deposit back. That way you're covered on both ends of the deal. Okay. So that you're protected on both ends. If anything goes kablooey on the front end, you're not trapped in selling your house without having a house. And if something goes kablooey on the buy end, you're not forced out of your house without a house to live in. Does that make any sense? Did I describe that right, guys?
Yeah, I feel like you did. I think
I'm just looking up kablooey.
Yeah,
That's the only thing. It's like
the Cliff Notes, Pepe, are you it can go smoothly. It can also not go smoothly, but you really need people who have experience doing it to make it as smooth as possible. Jim, I'm thinking like you're talking about like the seller buyer. Well, what happens when you have the daisy chain of seller buyers, which is also quite possible, right? Like the people who are buying your home, they're pending into the sale of their home. Like they're in your same shoes. And so the more of that chain you get, the more management is required to make it go smooth.
The more delicate it gets.
Yeah.
I remember Hartwig a long time ago. You were working with them very clear. So Hartwig, he moved up to Arkansas or something. I think you were helping him a little bit, but he in his sale, Pepe, he was selling his house using the money to buy the house in Arkansas. The people in Arkansas were using the money from Hartwig to buy their new home, right?
Yep.
And then the people buying Hartwig's home also were selling a home to somebody else to buy Hartwig. So we had 5 families, 4 houses, 3 different states. We had 3 different states because somebody was in Michigan.
And all those dominoes had to fall in the right order.
One of the deals didn't go through. Not my deals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one of the deals didn't go through. And I spent 3 weeks jamming that thing through for everybody. I was calling up the realtors in Michigan, finding out what was going on, because that was the weak link in the process. And the Michigan realtors is like, who the heck are you? Right? What are you even doing involved? And I'm like, well, you're a person
4 hops away from you.
Yeah. Well, I'm 3 closings ahead of you. Like, but you have to close first. So if you don't close, my people don't close. So now your business is my business.
Let me help you.
Yeah.
Right.
And we got it done. We got the whole thing done.
Let me ask you this then, from your end, how do you make sure you come out whole? I'm talking about on the 4 or 5 things that have to happen for 4 or 5 different people buying and selling. I mean, how How do you? Wow, that's
Well,
that's pretty difficult.
You just
Well,
cross
it-
your
How do you-
fingers.
well, you need.
I'm talking about from a fee standpoint. I'm talking about from a fee standpoint.
Well,
How do you do that?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, for let's say you hired me to sell your house, and then you also agreed for me to help buy your new home, right? So you
Right.
would pay me and the buyer's agent a real estate commission, just like a traditional deal. And then when I was helping you buy your new home, the seller would be paying my real estate commission as a buyer's agent. And you would have no fees on the buyer's side. When you're buying the house, you wouldn't pay me anything, right? I would be paid whatever the commission is on the house that you're buying.
Seller pays commission.
The seller pays the commission. So on the house that Pepe would be buying, I would make the money from the
Seller.
commission that the seller's offering. I would also be making some money from you to help, because I would be the listing agent selling your house. Okay. Now, the other deals, I don't get paid anything for all those other deals because other realtors are doing those deals. But what I've learned is that somebody has to be the alpha dog. And I hate to say it that way, but somebody's got to make sure everything's going through.
The captain driving the ship.
Somebody's got to do it. So most realtors don't, what I learned over time, most realtors don't want to do that. So what I did was I learned that I just have to jump in and be the alpha dog. So I have no problem calling up agents in Michigan and going, "Hi, you don't know who I am.
What's our status?
But your person is selling a home. They're under contract. I need to know that the buyer has a good qualified loan and that the appraisal and the inspection are going to go through. Because if your deal isn't closed, then the deal after you isn't going to close, which means my deal isn't going to close."
Yeah,
and I start that
what
way.
that shows, Pepe, is that Jim is ravenous when it comes to making sure that his people get their deal done.
Is he irravenous?
He's irravenous. That's
Wow.
right. Look it up.
Way to
Now-
emphasize it.
And I'm not making any extra. I'm not making money for those other deals. I'm getting involved in those deals to make sure that you can close on your deals. My customers closing. So what I'm like, if I have to deal with 4 houses to get my customer closed,
So be it.
that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
So that's how we kind of do it. So Pepe, I know that you're a ways out, but if you want to just kind of get a brief overview of how this whole thing will look, I'd love to talk to you off air. So I don't know if you gave Jimothy the number. You
We're all
did.
set. Yep,
So
I got
I'm
his
going to
number.
give you a call on Monday. And by the way, there was a guy who called last week. I think his name was Tom, and I didn't get to call him this week. He's thinking about selling his house in the future. He's a northerner who came down here and really liked the show. I promise I'm going to call you Monday. It's been a crazy week, so I'm going to call you this Monday too if you're listening. So I apologize. I didn't call you last week.
And what a great question too, because it does seem like a setup, but there's a lot of people in that situation. So seller buyers out there, you know.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing that delicate dance myself. Yeah.
Now that we're talking about them, this is just curiosity. From your standpoint, if you're, which you probably always are busy, if you're really busy, would you automatically take on a project like that, or would that be something?
Those
you
are
don't
my.
really-
I'm being honest with you. Those are my favorite projects. Are the seller buyers. We only got 1 minute, Pepe, but seller buyers are my favorite thing. I created this plan. I created my seller buyer plan just for this situation because I watch people go homeless with other agents, meaning that they sold a house. Then they didn't have a house to buy. They had no place to live, but they had money now. But now they don't have a place to live. And I was like, I got to fix this. So I love doing that. The meatier the deal, the more I rise to the challenge. So I just kind of like that. That's kind of the spice of life.
Pepe, we appreciate you being with us. I'm sorry to rush you along, but we are just flat out of time. Jim's going to give you a call on Monday, and we'll plant some seeds for the future, for your future move to get closer to your grandson and get him all involved in sports.
Okay, thank you.
All right, look forward to it there, my friend. Thank you very much for being with us on a Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And Mike Rauch, I hope you do the same.
Hey, you too, Johnny. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you,
very
everybody.
much. Yeah.
Good show. Thank you.
Jimmy D, thanks for everything as always. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks. You guys have an awesome weekend. Happy birthday, Jimothy.
Thank you.
Hey, next Saturday, you tell us why the hell you might be moving to Vegas.
I know we didn't get to do it for 2 weeks in a row, but I'm telling you, Florida sucks. I'm moving to Vegas.
Jimothy, have a great rest of your weekend, my friend.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend as well. Thank you so much.
Birthday weekend for Jimothy. Stick around. The locker room is going to take over from here. Greek and Joe and Jimothy, they're going to make a sports show for you, 4 hours of awesome. And of course, next Saturday, we'll be back at it 9 a.m. until 11. It's 2 hours of infotainment entertainment every Saturday, Florida Talk Real Estate style. And remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. It's your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change people's lives on Facebook and YouTube as well. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Thanks for being with us on a Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate. It's right here on Real Radio.